Want to flip that over?
I might, yeah, what the heck. I don't think I can. Lindsay, if I know you had all these transmissions
That. Hold yourself right there.
See that? Take that hat off my head. Where the fuck's that go? Where's my hat? Oh, you see that? Huh?
Watch the video.
I took the
replay.
hat right off my head. Where the fuck is my hat? Up there?
No, it's that way.
Where's the fucking hat at, man?
There it is, right at your feet, upside down. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Good idea, Lindsay. Great fucking idea. Turn it over. You don't mind.
Yeah, you're almost through.
Yep. Just pinch. I don't want that to fall back and jam my blade as I cut the drive shaft off, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking when I was cutting it. I don't want that to fall back. Do you have a son?
Do I what?
A son?
Hey.
Hey, morning.
Morning. Morning. Where'd I put the grinder disc at?
Right here, honey.
Huh?
Right here.
The beautiful assistant has them. You buy them, do you? The dollar blades, do you?
No.
We buy the dollar blades. What the hey?
You have?
Just when we get it done, I just want you to clap as loud as you can.
Work later? Yep, 4 o'clock today.
Anything that the cord get caught on, it will. That was grinder talk. The grinder in my mouth.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Why did the one-armed man cross the road?
Why?
To get to the second-hand store. Come on off, baby.
Everything you need?
I get everything I need. See how that bearing holds that nice steady in there?
Yeah.
Once I cut that off there, I'm not going to do the same thing, a trick again. Cut it off too short, but I'll weld a U-bolt on this end. So that'll be my shaft coming out of here. I'll have a seal here.
Yeah.
After the bearing, then have a U-bolt. I think it'll work. Do you want them stood back up, obviously? Let's do it. Do it. Head them back up. Thanks for letting me cut off the drive shaft, son.
Chip that. Knock it on top of that one.
There's the guy that fucked with my hat.
That's fine.
Thanks, Lindsay. Here, I've thrown you.
Hazard's there.
See, I never knew all that stuff was available for the flathead. I guess if you're looking for all that stuff for the flathead, most of you find it after a while, but when you don't have it,
I'm just trying to save all this old stuff, right? Cool. That piece of work. I gotta find out what I did with my coffee.
I've got a 32 to a 3940 Ford 3-speed transmission. It has, from factory, it would have had a closed drive shaft. What I mean by closed is the drive shaft, this is the shaft that went in there. What I mean by closed is the shaft would have went inside here. Then there would be a casing that would go over top of it to the rear end. I've changed the rear end in the car to a 50s Ford truck. Now I have to change the drive shaft, and that's what happens every time you make a hot rod. You have to change something. As I'm going here, everything I'm doing, I have to figure it out on my own because I don't know, I can't see or what everybody else is doing or what they have done. So as I'm trying to make a drive shaft, I already made a drive shaft for it once. I had a spline, I put it in there, made the drive shaft. You can see I cut off. That's wobbling around inside there, and I hooked the drive shaft up. That would not work, and it would not seal anything either. So as I start using my brain, I had to go get another drive shaft because I cut this one too short, not knowing what I was going to do to fix this problem. I want a drive shaft, but I still have this hookup. That's an enclosed drive shaft. It has a tube on it. I want to make it so it's open so you can see the drive shaft turning. A closed drive shaft, you would not. It would be cased inside of another piece of metal. So what's going on here, I've taken the drive shaft. You come over here for a second. So I'm showing you how I am going to turn a closed drive shaft into an open drive shaft. What I have done, so this right here is what happens. This is your drive shaft tube, which your drive shaft would run through. It's here somewhere. It's in the vise over there. Your drive shaft tube runs through this. There's a bearing right here that holds it steady, so it does not move around. As you can see in there, it doesn't do that when I put it in there by itself. So what I've got here now, this is the casing that goes on. This is the casing that goes on the drive shaft, which holds, I got it bolted up right now, which holds this on the end of that transmission. So your drive shaft goes through there. There's a bearing in there that holds it steady so it does not rattle. This goes all the way to the rear and bolts to the rear end. I do not want that drive shaft because I want it open so I can see it. So what I have done is I have taken the exact same piece what I have here. I've cut it off. I've cut it off where the bearing is, where the bearing ends. This is where the bearing ended. I cut it off. That's where the bearing goes right there, just like that. That's where the bearing goes. And this is the closed drive shaft part. Exactly part as this thing. It's just that I cleaned this one out. Exact same thing. So as I cut it off, I know where the bearing is. I've cut it off where the bearing is. So now when I take my drive shaft and put it in there, now when I put my drive shaft in there, that bearing is going to hold it steady, if you know what I'm saying. Up front, it did not. You remember when I put the piece in, it did not hold it steady. It shook around, if you know what I mean, when I put the shaft in. So now when I got the bearing in, and I've got this on, I'm going to put this in here like this. I'm going to put that on here like this. I'm going to put it on here. This is the coupling that holds my drive shaft unit on. I'm going to take this coupling and I'm going to weld this drive shaft tube to the coupling. So now I will have a tail shaft that I've made for my transmission. Now that I got the shaft, I got my bearing in it, I can put my bearing back in. I've got my other drive shaft. My other drive shaft here. I got the length of it. When I put my bearing in, I will put my drive shaft tube. I put my drive shaft tube in, and I will cut it to length. So now what I will have is I will have this. That'll be welded. This will be welded on here. The coupling will be welded to the drive shaft. Then the shaft is going to go through. I have my speedometer can go back on my drive shaft. That goes back on the drive shaft. This goes on here first. Then I can run my original speedometer. Now I've got a tail shaft for that transmission that'll go right on. Then I went and got a bearing or a seal. When I put my shaft through, I can put a seal on to seal that rear end. So now, when this shaft comes out, I've got some dry shafts inside. Now what I can do is, I can put a yoke on the end of this, on this end of this dry shaft. So when I cut that dry shaft off, I'll cut it to length, and then I will put a yoke on it. I will weld a yoke on it. So the yoke goes on there like that, and then I've got a open dry shaft. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going from closed dry shaft to open dry shaft, and I'm going to make a tail shaft for my transmission out of what was there. So I've cut the tube where the bearing is. You see where I showed you the bearing? Take the coupler. I'm going to weld it to the end of the dry shaft. I'm going to take a yoke, weld it on the end of the shaft. Now I'm going to have a yoke so I can go to the rear end. That's how you make a 3-speed closed dry shaft into a 3-speed open dry shaft. Never seen anybody else do it? Bad chance, huh? Look at this bad boy thing here as I say that. I got this thing here dropped off here the other day. He asked me if I was interested in trying this machine out. It's a shear. Wow, that's quite a shear. I'm not sure what to think. It's quite something else, isn't it? Also, yesterday was a pretty good day all day. Yesterday it was a good day. I had someone show up. Can't remember his name exactly, but I remember his face. That's for sure. He dropped me in a bunch of Hot Wheels. You know what I mean? And the two that I like the best, the Phantom Corsair. I've always said that's one of my favorite vehicles of all time. It's just something that's mysterious about it. I like it. And then look at this one here. Hot Wheels has got a Dreammobile. Look at that now, would you? They got a Dreammobile. Please, someone tell them we build dream cars. Have a good day, everybody. 3-speed closed dry shaft to an open dry shaft. That's how I'm doing it. And that's what hot rodding's about, really, to be honest with you, is making something work. As I'm going through this, I'm learning things and I'm finding things that could work. There was another transmission at Lindsay's he showed me, a friend of mine, Lindsay, he's into 36 Fords, he's into Fords, nostalgic stuff, flathead stuff. I had to run there and go get a drive shaft actually, he let me cut a drive shaft off. But he showed me there is a 3-speed Ford transmission that has a yoke on the end, or they had that on there, but it's hard to find. And if you can't find it, what do? Do I sit here and not do anything and just let it till I find it? That's not me. As I work on the car, if I haven't got something, you make it. You know, that's the deal. It's just like the clutch. As I got the clutch working and got that all done, I seen something else that someone on the factory frame that they had done. You know, I know it's different, but I didn't have it. And what I got going on works, you know. I'm not letting anything slow me down, or try not to let anything slow me down to make this what I want. And that's what I call hot rod. Perseverance. It can be done. That's what is in my brain. I never think that nothing can't be done. I don't think that. Can't is a provider for me of energy. You can't. Well, yes, I can. And it really does bring it along. And remember, a human being can change at any point they want to, any time of day. You can change whenever you feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you want to. So whenever you want to change, go for it. Do whatever you like. Make yourself happy. Make yourself happy. That's what I do. You know, I can't get something, so I make it to make myself happy. Have a good one.